We're back and now for our first major conversation right here on The Breakfast on PlusTvAfrica. Of course, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has denied changing its electoral guidelines ahead of next year's general elections with particular references to the transmission and collation of results. Now, according to the Commission, the electronic transmission of results, which entails uploading polling units level results to a secure web portal, has come to stay, adding that INEC will not deviate from the procedures it used in recent off-season state elections. I mean, we had elections in Ekiti State, elections in Osun State as well, and Anambra State, not to forget Anambra State. Now, INEC National Commissioner in charge of information and voter education, Barrister Festus Okoye, disclosed this yesterday in reaction to an earlier report which quoted him as saying that the Commission will not use electronic collation in the general elections. Joining us to provide analysis of this, we have Buba Luka, who is a desk officer, civil society organizations, Liaison, Youth and Disability, INEC in Lagos State. Buba, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Fantastic.
Good morning.
Yes, so it seems that the spokesman for INEC, if we can call him that, put out the wrong information. Will you agree with that view?
It is not a wrong information. It's a statement of fact. Because based on the Electoral Act, after the transmission, the e-transmission of the results, INEC will still go ahead and collect the results manually for each of the elections conducted in 2023. So maybe because Nigerians they just pick up the fantastic heading that INEC is going to use to collect results manually, and they just concluded that Nigeria has INEC has jettisoned the electronic transmission and the Electoral Act that was recently passed into law. So it is not correct that INEC has changed anything. It still remains the same.
Okay, so let's also look at this now. It feels like that's a misunderstanding, and there's been some clarity that's been put out, by the spokesperson of, INEC right there. But looking at the misunderstanding, which, the actual truth is that votes will be manually counted and figures must tally with their accredited voters on the Beaver's machine. Do you think that might cause any discrepancy, with the result?
I don't think so, because INEC has experimented with this severally. We did this in Ekiti and also in Osun, the standard-side governorship elections that was done in June and July. So you see now, when the results when they are transmitted to the IREC, that is the INEC result viewing portal, Nigerians will be able to check on real time to see the results. And something I noticed with the Osun general election was that there were several Nigerians that were doing a parallel result tabulation and collating the results. And there were those that even finished their own collation before INEC could finish her own manual collation of results and declare the results. So at the end of the day, we now discovered that what those other bodies came up with was not too different from what INEC declared at the end of the day. So it's a very transparent process, and nothing will happen to it.
All right. Buba, can you walk us through the process of collation results, just so we understand? You've said that what Festus Okoye put out earlier before his explanation on Sunday was simply a statement of fact, which was misunderstood by people who interpreted it as otherwise. So how does it work? You know, we have the BVAS, which is a new innovation, never been used before in general elections in the country. Of course, you said it's been test run in the standalone elections in Ekiti, Osun, and Anambra states. What is the process and procedure of putting these votes and collating the results so people understand what you're talking about? So run us through that, please.
Okay. You know, the BVAS, it's a two-way verification system whereby it will identify either the fingerprint or the facial. So it takes a biometric for a voter to be accredited. So after being accredited, then that is when you'll be issued a ballot paper to cast your vote. So at the end of the day, the total number of people that are accredited in the BVAS must have to tally with the total number of ballot papers to voters and the total number of votes cast at the end of the day. So it is this that will be transmitted to the IREF at the end of the day. So after the transmission to the IREF, the presiding officer, so the results will be collected on a form. After collecting it, then it will be taken to the vote collection center. So from the vote collection center, after the collection officer has collected it, then it will be taken to the local government. So from there, you know, we have different elections. We have election into the office of the member house of assembly of the state. We have elections into the governor of the state. We have Senate. We have House of Representatives, and we have presidential. So each of these have constituencies. So for the House of Assembly, from the local government level, you know, it will be taken to that particular constituency. For example, in Lagos State here now, each local government has 2 constituencies for State House of Assembly. So either constituency 1 or 2. So at that local government level, the results will be taken to that constituency headquarters to be collected, and that is where the results will be declared and the winner will be returned. So for governorship, from the local government, the results will be taken to the INEC headquarters in that particular state where the result is being collected. So after all the results from all the local governments, when they come and they are being collected, that's where they will be declared and the winner will be returned at that level. So the same thing with House of Representatives, the result will be taken to that particular collection center. And the Senate also, you know, we have 3 senatorial zones for each state. So there is a particular collection center for each of the senatorial zones. So that is where the results will be brought in from all the local governments that cover that particular senatorial zone. They will be collected there, declared, and the winner will be returned. Then for the presidential, after the results are brought in from the local government, they will be collected at the headquarters. Then from there, they will be taken to Abuja. And in Abuja, the results are going to be collected by the chief returning officer, which is the INEC chairman himself. So for all the 36 states and Abuja, the INEC chairman will collect all the results from the state. Then it will be declared, and the presidential winner will now be returned as it is. So that is the process of the collection of results.
Okay. Let's talk about, the possibility of rigging the elections. It's been widely believed that, with the new electoral act, uh, rigging of election might just be difficult because of the real-time transmission. Do you really believe that, this is something that will become a reality? I mean, that's possible that the elections will not be rigged because of the real-time transmission of results.
Yes, the result it will be very difficult for anyone to rig the results of the election. The outcome will definitely be what Nigerians want it to be. So that is why INEC is encouraging Nigerians in the last concluded continuous voters registration that they should go and register so they will get their PVC. So because the beavers has made the process to be transparent and it is credible. That is why you find out that in the standalone elections that we had, there were so many cases of vote buying because politicians know very well that the the election results are going to count. There's no way to manipulate it. So the best way is for politicians to go and canvass for votes. Let them do the usual campaign and get to ask Nigerians to vote for them. Yes, and we also encourage Nigerians to shun bribery, collecting money to vote. Let them vote their conscience.
Well, sorry, I mean, just before Kofi comes in, you said that it will be almost impossible to rig the election. Means that there's also 1% chance that the election can be rigged with the beavers.
Hello, I didn't get that.
Now you say that it will be difficult for that election to be rigged, almost impossible. Does not mean that it's not possible. So there's a 1% chance that the election can be rigged, even with the beavers. I'd like you to share your thoughts on that.
Okay, well, in every technological innovation, there could be a slim chance of failure like that. But by what we have now, the experimentation that we've had with the beaver, I think the chances are very, very high. So even if there is any failure, the margin will be it will be something that will not be significant.
All right, Buba, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, fine. So, in the case of transmission of these boats, I think we can also safely look at what Professor Okoye put out, which is he differentiated between transmission and transfer. In the case of the transmission of the votes to the portal, what if there's a insincerity or an attempt to rig on the part of the INEC official who is meant to do the electronic upload of these votes? I mean, is that not a possibility? Because I know that in one of the standalone elections, like you called it, either in Anambra or Ekiti State, one of the two, one of the officials was seen, he was stopped by the voters who were insisting that he must upload the results to the portal. They said he refused to upload it and was going away. That's number one. Number two, the questions that have been asked about possibility of uploading the results in front of the people and then on the way deleting it when everyone has gone. Is that also possible as well? And what can INEC do to safeguard against that happening?
Okay, concerning the uploading of the results, that is why the part of Nigerians come in taking responsibility. So that's why Nigerians need to know what they really need to do on election day. not to just cast their vote and go home and sleep. Yes, Nigerians are allowed to maintain a respectable distance after casting your vote so that you observe to the end what is happening. So that is why it's also good you get to know the provisions of the Electoral Act so that you know your own responsibility as a voter so that just like you said, if at all any of the presiding officers refuses to vote, then it is the duty of Nigerians to make sure that that is done. Yes, because that giver, even if he does not upload it as a then, they whatever that is in the givers, it cannot be changed. So definitely those results are going to be counted. So Nigerians should hold whoever is the presiding officer responsible. It's commendable what happened in Osun State, where the presiding officer was compelled to upload the results in the givers, the INEC.
So what happens if the official, INEC official, deletes what was uploaded earlier? Yeah, Buba, are you there?
Hello?
Yeah. What happened if the INEC official deletes a result that was uploaded earlier? Maybe after people may have gone, he deletes it. What about that?
Okay, you know, the process is a very transparent process. Apart from the fact that these results are going to be uploaded, you also have party agents at the polling station. So that is where also the manual collation comes in. You know, the results are going to be collated manually on this Form EC 8 series. So in the Form EC 8 series, you enter all the results manually here. So you now issue copies of that to all the political party agents and the security that are on ground. So apart from what is transmitted to the IREF, you also have physical results. Yes.
All right. We would like to thank you and leave it at that point. Buba Luka, Desk Officer, Civil Society Organizations Liaison, Youth and Disability at INEC, Lagos State. Appreciate your time, Buba, and thanks for giving us a breakdown of what we need to know.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
My pleasure.
Indeed, the pleasure is ours. All right, Messi, before we go for our next segment, of course, updates coming as far as the latest building collapse in Lagos State is concerned. And it's quite unfortunate what has happened regarding that. It's something we hoped wouldn't happen again from the Ikoyi building collapse. But the latest situation report from the collapsed building in Lagos State, this is at Adeleye Street, Ladilak in Bariga. It's that the agency, this is the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, says it has activated its response to that incident, and upon arrival at the incident scene, discovered that this tank scaffolding of a two-story building collapsed on a bungalow beside it and affected 2 rooms. And it says, unfortunately, 2 children died from the impact. 3 adult males sustained injuries and were taken to nearby hospitals. It's a statement released by the permanent secretary, I believe, of LASEMA, Dr. Lufemi Damilola Oke Oshonyi Tolu. He says the agency's response team, alongside the Lagos State Fire and LASCA, responders at the scene. Operations undergoing. Updates will be following right here on PlusTvAfrica. But it's quite sad. 2 children dead, quite unfortunate occurrence.
Well, so this is actually no rocket science. It just shows that we have not decided, to commit ourselves to action and getting the desired result. I mean, before you have a building that's been erected, there are due process or procedures that should be followed. You have a government whose sole responsibility is to ensure governance, and so it's important that the issue of governance and ensuring that these structures are followed through to the latter. I mean, the procedures, the standard, have they gone through soil testing? And should they be erected at where they are erected? I mean, who gave the approval for this structure? Following the construction of the building to its end is what is expected. We have actually not paid attention. I'm not even sure that we have learned from the previous experiences or whatever it is. But we have been very careless.
But this happens to be the tank scaffolding collapsing on a nearby bungalow.
No, but it's one and the same thing. Sometimes I don't know how many times you've moved around, and if you're very conversant with the activities of the park corporation, they'll tell you that there's some times where you have the cables, the power, the poles, and what have you in high risk areas. So there's some areas where you don't have some structures that should be erected. How many times have you looked around and you find that you have buildings that are under high tension? It's really wrong. Now there's an approval for that structure. Nobody. I mean, so it's a two-way thing. The PhD, whether it's the PhD, depending on where it is, should know that they can't have a structure erected there. And before any structure is erected, there's some sort of approval. Whatever happens.
It's unfortunate. The saddest part of this is that those who have been affected do not have anything to do with the construction of that two-story building. It's not a construction, as it were, but it's a tank scaffolding. So they don't have anything to do with it. They just happen to be beside that tank scaffolding of a two-story building. And
so how did the tank scaffolding get to that point?
So this is probably maybe carelessness. We don't know. But it's sad because the people have nothing to do with that tank scaffolding.
No, I understand that the people might have nothing to do, but Kofi, you and I can agree that the scaffolding did not come from the sky.
We have to go. We have to go. Our producers are already going gaga. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about thrombosis. Mercy has a lot to unpack as far as thrombosis is concerned. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.